Hey guys, so this is going to be the first episode of the Bird's Eye Competitive Apex Legends podcast. So I partnered up with the wonderful esports organization that is 303 Esports, and they're going to make this all come to fruition, and they're helping me out with all of that. So shout out to them and all their sponsors. Our first guest is going to be Gnaske from Cooler Esports. It's someone that I've worked with a lot and talked to a lot. So that's really exciting. And essentially, I just want to talk about topics in competitive Apex Legends in a setting where we can actually have like some nuance and have some real like conversation outside of Twitter or whatever. So that's the goal of all this. I want to bring on some more great people in the future and talk about some juicy, even maybe controversial topics. So look out for that. And of course, if you guys have any people that you recommend or topics specifically that you want me to cover, just let me know. Put it in the comments. And of course, suggestions and critique and all that is also appreciated. So yeah, enjoy. For the people who don't know who I am, I do a little bit of analysis, a little coaching here and there. I actually used to be a GSE's analyst for a little bit. That was pretty fun. I carried them super hard, it was all me. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, so I've been in this guy's chat since like I think spring of last year, and we just basically looked at zones together, talked about like the meta, and especially like when the new KC came out. I feel like that's where I did most of my work on GSD, I feel like. And
yeah, sure.
That's like pretty much where it started with us. But I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, and then like also talk about your esports background. So we're gonna also go over like background stuff for people who don't, or for people who are interested in like where you came from and all that stuff. So
All right.
talk about like
Yeah.
like what you did before Apex, and then also like the beginning of Apex, like how you climbed up the ranks.
All right, sure. Yeah. Well, I'm Gnaske. I play Apex with Cooler. Um, I, I just started I started in Apex a week after it came out or something like that. It was pretty fun. I didn't really get into it at the start, so like a week after I played some more games and then I got into it, and then I started playing some tourneys. I don't know how, but I just found like a team, played some tourneys. It was pretty fun. We sucked ass though. And then it ended up me playing scrims because I got introduced to the scrim Discord, and I was just ringing and then joining some teams. It took like 5 months or some shit before I got my first scrim win. But yeah, I basically just like climbed up slowly that way, and it all really took off after play with PvP in NA, PvP and Geesh for the first online tourney ever in NA. Flew out and played it over there, and then came back home, looked for a team, found Dell and Strafey. We were all like relatively unknown. So yeah, we teamed up and then we started farming.
I want to talk more about how GSD formed, because like back then in the early Apex days in EU, like how did people get discovered? Was it like just like genuinely, I have no clue myself. Like was it ranked? Was it like Twitter montages? How did people get noticed? Like how did you know people were good? You just played with them or what?
So some of the teams like FOTM and G2, they were they were known because of them. Like they would rank really high in the APL leaderboards every season. So that's how they were known. And other than that, I'm pretty sure it was like based off other games and in general just like clout and stuff like that. Um, pretty sure. Cause I was not like known or anything, so I don't really know.
So at the time, you were like equally unknown as Strafey and Dell, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about back in June 2019, back in
Oh,
like in
okay.
APL days. Like I wasn't known at all, so I didn't know how you like. I don't know. I don't know how people like got teams and got known and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure it's just like I just know that G2 and FOTM, they were known based on like APL leaderboards.
I see. Okay, okay. Because it's like I feel like it's pretty uncommon for like three players like of how good you guys were to like find each other. Especially, I feel like that
Yeah,
late into Apex.
it was totally random. I did not know Strafey and Dull at all. I found like after the OT1 in NA with PvP and Geesh, I went back to EU and I said, and I like wrote looking for team. And a friend called Jetty, he just DM'd me if I wanted to try with him and Strafey. And then it ended up me and Strafey. Like Strafey would just like get 10 kills for free every time. With like without it being fights, he would just like find random picks. And because of that, I just realized that Strafey was insane. So that's why I teamed up with Strafey. When we were then traveling with Silta, and
Mm-hmm.
um, and I really wanted to team with Silta. And then there's one day where his internet was out, and then because Vic Please had previously recommended Dell, then we tried Dell just because Silta's internet was out, or something like that. Then it ended up with us playing with Dell a couple more days. He started, and then Silta started playing with his team. I forgot their team name, but they did really good in the summer circuit. And then it ended up with us just committing with Dell. So yeah, I didn't know any of them beforehand, and yeah,
Outsiders.
I think it was just luck. Outsiders. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious, like, when did you know you were gonna do well with GSC? Because so the first two OTs, I mean, when I started watching guys, like, I knew you guys were gonna be super good, but like for someone who wasn't watching your OTs like extensively or like uh with like enough depth, they could have looked at the results and been like, okay, like how far is this team gonna go? But like,
Yeah, I mean,
how soon
we
did you know you guys were actually gonna be good?
I knew from the get go because yes, we started off with bad seating because we were a newly formed team, so we were like in the lower lobbies. But regardless, we would literally just farm. We would not have a single bad day. Even when we got into the group one lobbies, we wouldn't have a bad day till like 3 months after us getting together. And the reason we did bad in the OT finals were just because we were contested. Didn't necessarily do bad. It was just that, and we weren't contested. We were splitting loot because we knew that if we were contested, it would be bad. And then after two tourneys where we were like, okay, this is even worse than being contested, we just started like playing more for the contest instead of splitting, and that's where we started snowballing in terms of results.
Can you remind everyone who contested you? I'm just curious. I mean, I'm pretty sure I remember who, but like,
In OT2 it was Cooler, Sign, Row, and Jules, and in OT3 it was I think that was, yeah, OT3, that was Bryn, Oxbow, and Danny Omega. We were also splitting with them. Then in OT4 we had it for ourselves because Bryn stopped playing Apex, so Oxbow joined with a mask and a mask and shirt, and then they started landing tree or something. So we got fragmites for free back then. And by that time, Cooler had given up on contesting us because we would win.
true, true. We're actually gonna talk about that like later because I mean, contest is like a huge topic in like BRs. I feel it's like definitely a little misunderstood too, but like it's a super important part of BRs. Um, but like still on the topic of GSD, I also want to talk about uh like Kings Canyon GSD and like World's Edge GSD because like when you guys were playing on World's Edge, you guys were pretty much playing just like early rotates no matter what, very similar to like TSM. But then when KC came out, um, like
We started playing
it's
Edge.
just a
Yeah.
totally different play style, right? And it's not even close to it's not even close to the same thing as you guys were playing on World's Edge. But like,
Yeah, there
how did
was
you guys? Yeah, go ahead.
basically when we played KC, or basically when we played World's Edge, there was like 10 hours pre-planning every day and shit like that, right? And we would spend so much time on theorizing, memorizing timings, like, everything like that. Because we knew the zones were predictable, stuff like that, right? and we would just plan our rotates ahead and find out like figure out what buildings are possible to take for us. So there's a lot of like pre-planning and stuff like that. Really, I don't have the vocabulary to express myself, but yeah, a lot more brain power going into that playstyle. And for KC, because we didn't know zones, we just decided to turn off our brains and play like the most degenerate, easy playstyle ever, which essentially just boiled down to us guessing where zone was, play for like a high ground or something like that, fight anyone that's close to us, win that fight, and then just have a free rotate. It was there was so much less thought going into it, but because we were just like we would just win all our fights, and that's why I don't know why and how, but our KC results were so much stronger than our World's Edge results.
Well,
because,
that's the
like,
funny
even
thing.
Though, like, yeah, there was no thought going into our KC playstyle, or there's nothing. It was just W key.
Well, like the thing is, when people were talking about you guys' autumn circuit performance, they were always talking about how like you guys couldn't adapt, and like you guys were at your peak when you were playing early rotates on World's Edge, and like I heard Castro say it, I heard people on social media say it all the time, and I was like, that just doesn't make sense. Like GSD was at their best when they were playing Edge, and like you get
true.
Right. So it was this weird thing where it's like.
I mean, the reason we didn't do good is because we didn't adapt. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were playing Edge from Fragment East. I don't know. It was bad. It was really bad. It was not my proud time. But yeah.
How did you guys bounce back from that?
Tough. I don't know. We just kept going, I guess. There's a lot of like negative energy, I think. There's a lot of blaming and stuff like that, or like subconsciously blaming, right? But well, I don't know. We just powered through. January came around to the new year, and we had like 5 scrim wins, like 5 days, 1 out of 7 or something. Like we were playing out of our minds at the start of 2021, and it gave like a confidence boost. First 20 came around, and we were like going into that feeling more confident than ever, and then it got cancelled, unfortunately. But that was still a dub in our books. I'm sure we would have won that when finals came around. But yeah, and then
sure.
only just recently have we really mastered the caustic crypto playstyle though. That's why we had a good performance in the recent. Also partially because of the zones being predictable. We predicted 6 out of 6 zones in the finals. That was a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like, I think, like, I mean, how do you feel? I guess if this is like leaking strats or whatever, like, just stop me. But like, do you think that comp and that playstyle would work over like a 12-game series?
Yes.
Even more so than, I guess, in OT. Yeah, like in OT, I guess it's like it's like too little.
I get
games,
what you're saying, because like with zones being like random. So the thing is with Edge, with zone being random, like as random as they are right now, you can get more consistent points, right? Like if you get a bad zone and you're playing for early position, most of the time it's just GGs, and you end up getting like max 3 points or something like that. And I see what you mean with like a 12-game series, that could be bad. But the thing about our playstyle is that we play for the win and not for consistent point, right? Or like we get consistent points because of the placement. But the idea, ideology behind the playstyle is that you play for the win, and it perfectly caters to the playoff format, right?
Right.
Take 50 points and then a win. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it works for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I want to back up because I kind of like got ahead of myself. I want to talk about like summer circuit playoffs and like Strafey leaving, because I know there was a lot of people that wanted you guys to get signed by Navi, like just all 3 of you. And like, was that ever in discussion, or was that just like not a thing? Like, was Navi only interested in Strafey?
Yeah. Because like they had Klaus and Nanims, right? That they were
Right.
so good back in Poland and in 2019 in general. And so when it came around for them looking for a new third or like just to change something up so they could go back to their prime again, it was like, Klaus is the Quake champion, Nanims is the IGL, and like they had so much faith in that roster. So when they picked Strafey up, they didn't think about like just picking it all up because they figured that, hey, well, we can just get Strafey and then Navi will go back to how good they are, and so yeah.
Yeah,
There
for
was never
sure.
any talks about us joining Navi.
Well, what about when like you obviously like I know the answer to these questions, but like I'm asking for everyone watching, but like when you were looking for a third, um, were there any other people that like you were interested in playing with, or like you've like wanted to play with, or like admire, I guess? Like Yuki's insane.
Uh,
Like I'm just wondering, like, were there any other players you considered?
yeah, the thing is, it was tough with the free agent pool. I knew Yuki's situation, so it was easy for us to pick up Yuki because we knew Yuki was like insane, and he would fit perfectly because he had an org with him. He is insane, and he was looking for two new teammates. So it fit perfectly with him. There was definitely some contemplating with other players, but the only players we were interested in had teammates. So it'd be way harder. Um, but also, yeah. So like there wasn't that many players we were interested in at all. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially for like a team of your guys' caliber. I mean, you just like came off like a playoff win, like
Yeah.
the amount of
I
players that
mean,
you're, you know.
we were contemplating other players, of course. But it was like it was obvious for us from the get go that it was going to be Yuki.
Yeah.
But other like the players, like I can say some of them, I guess. But it was like we really liked how Mady played. Like Mady's insane. So we were thinking about contacting Mady about it. But we never got further than us saying, okay, Mady's insane. Maybe we can DM him. Because like it was just perfect with Yuki, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And that team is probably inseparable, honestly. Nessie right now. I feel like they've
Yeah.
been playing with like it would take a lot for them to like be split up. Like obviously the North thing split them up, but yeah. Um, let's talk about NA versus EU. How about that for some juicy content? Because I know that you guys are playing E Series tonight,
Yep.
and you and TSM is also playing E Series tonight. And
Yep.
there's been a bunch of drama recently, just in general about contesting. Um,
Yep.
just
And there is only one team leaving Fragment tonight, baby.
yeah, yeah. And who is that?
That is us.
Yeah,
That is us,
okay.
of course.
Well, like talk to me about contesting. Like, how much of contesting is griefing, and how much of it is like actually trying to
It
like
depends on your
have a
team.
win condition?
Depends on the spot. Depends on your team. Depends on your results, right?
Yeah,
If you are a new team with no results, you're all three new players, and you're trying to contest for like sorting or Skyhook West, that's grief. Like stop, you know. But if
yeah,
you're
for sure.
a new team or whatever, and you're contesting for Geyser or another like bottom tier job spot, that's fine. Sure, whatever. But if
Well,
you're a
like
good team, like a good team, and you want to contest for one of the best spots, that's not grief. That's totally fine. You're most likely not gonna get it because the other like it's just ego, right? But yeah.
yeah, for
But on the same topic, someone like Shiv's team, I'd say Shiv's team is pretty good. But regardless,
sure.
I think them contesting kick for Skyhook West is pretty grief. I don't know. I don't really like that. I think that's pretty stupid.
Why is that? Just because
Like I
they
get,
have like nothing, or they have like nothing to lose, or what?
yeah, they're playing for content, right?
Right.
Of course they want to win, of course, but there's not much more to it than hey, okay, this spot very cool, let's go. You know? golden items, whatever.
Right.
There's no. It's not the rotations and the beacons and the loot and the thing and that. It's that. Hey, look, shiny items trials. Let's go. That's it.
True. That place is OP, by the way. I just want to say, I think that's the best.
Oh yeah, it's the best drop spot for sure.
That's the only strat I'm leaking for today. That's the number one drop spot, no cap. But
yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, I think that's interesting because I feel like the intentions behind what a team is trying to do when they're contesting is important because let's say for the TSM versus F8 thing, right? Like a lot of people, even from my end, I am someone who encourages contests up to a certain point, of course. I think if you're gonna contest, right? You need to if you're gonna contest a good team, sorry, you need to have good contest strats. You need to actually show up knowing what you're doing at that drop spot. But it was such a spectacle with F8 that I honestly couldn't tell what their intentions were at all, right? And obviously some of their players have a very sketchy past, so it's there's just a bunch of things going on, and I mean.
Yeah, that contest is really questionable. They're a brand new team, no results, no nothing. All of a sudden, they want to contest my personal if I would say so myself, the best NA team out of the blue, assuming they will get the drop spot. What?
Well, to be fair to them, they've basically gone 50-50 in contests.
Oh yeah, they've been winning. I'm pretty sure they have won more than TSM has.
Yeah, something like that.
Which I think is kind of funny. But still, I don't know. If you want to beat someone out of their drop spot, you need a 70-80% win rate or something like that. Especially if you have been at that drop spot for so long, you're not gonna leave just because someone beat you 65% of the time. You really need to get destroyed to leave. That's how it is with us in Fragments, at least.
So even if you are losing, but you're the one defending, you think those teams should stay?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because then around finals, if you are losing there, you're most likely not gonna stay there, right? I don't know. You just need a feel for it. If you're getting royally destroyed, then yeah, you should probably leave by the time finals comes around. Otherwise, you're gonna end up 20th.
Yeah, someone in chat said the CLG contest, they got. I think it was 5-0 because I think one game Lou was lagging, but they contested once, got 5-0
that's a perfect
and left.
example.
Yeah,
but they tried. That's fair enough. They lost big time. They left. It's totally fair. That's respectable.
Yeah, definitely. But what does that contest mean for you guys? By the way, the F8 versus TSM contest, because I think prior to this, TSM really had not been contested by any good teams. Obviously, TSM got contested by Tech's team way back in the past, but
TSM was
Tech's
never contested. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. They 3-man ratted on top of Zip building, AFK'd, and it wasn't a good contest strat, so they weren't really challenged in the slightest. But
yeah.
It
so
seems
FA contesting TSM is bad for us. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it seems like because it seems like I mean, I memed about this on Twitter that TSM didn't know how to contest. It was no shit at them, but my perspective is they didn't have the experience of being contested by at least decent teams, right? And
yeah.
While they were being contested by F8, they were learning a lot more on how to contest. It may not be perfect now, but obviously they seem to know a lot more on how to contest now than they did before F8. So
yeah, for sure. That is true. It is bad for us. I'm pretty sure it would have been very, very easy for us, and we would probably have a 90% win rate if F8 didn't start landing there. But them getting practice, yeah, of course, it's bad for us.
Yeah, definitely. But you still think you're gonna win today, huh?
Yeah. All right. It's gonna be different today because of lag, right?
Yeah.
It plays a big factor. Lag. It's gonna be late. It's starting at midnight tonight, so it's not that late. But regardless, it's not optimal for us, and it's optimal for TSM.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, outside of just the contest, there's also the fan element that I want to talk about because like I mean, fans are like an inevitable part of like esports and like just competitive sports in general, and like I feel like especially in the context of contesting TSM, it's actually such a huge thing because like, and I don't it's not TSM's fault at all, right? Like, but like there's definitely like a problem with fans from teams going into like other streamers uh like Twitches and just like harassing them. Like it's not exclusive to esports or like Apex. Like people do this in soccer. Like literally, people do this in all sports. But like I don't know. I'm wondering like, is there a way to stop that?
We're just gonna do sub only chat. I think I'm pretty sure that's the only way around it. Because then at least if we get shit talked, we get money.
Yeah, I mean, valid point. But I'm honestly wondering. Like, I feel like that actually. I feel like the bigger you are, the more it helps when you're contesting because like you.
Yeah.
There's a psychological
a,
element to contesting for sure.
For sure.
Which is pretty unfortunate, but yeah. And if you're watching, you're one of those people. Cut that out. Stop doing that. Just let people contest. But yeah. I mean, I also want to talk about like there's a lot of when people contest, they also talk about like griefing a lot, right? They're like, I'm gonna grief your games. I'm gonna do everything in my power to grief you, like and ruin your games, like.
That is kind of it makes sense because if you grief them and they don't qualify for finals, you're gonna have an easier time, right? But at the same time, like if you don't make it to finals as well because you're griefing, that's just stupid. You should just be focusing on your own game. Like if you're contesting someone, you should not be like changing your comp to win the contest. You should not be doing this and that to win the contest. You should just contest, but you should keep in mind that you still have the rest of the game afterwards, right? That's why we land on SIP building to get the fight over with instantly, right? It's not the most effective way to contest, but it's the most effective way to contest and be okay afterwards. So yeah, that's like I don't like I see TSM changing comps, I see TSM stalling very hard and stuff like that. And yes, you're gonna win more contests because of it, but at the same time, you're not gonna win the day because of it. You can still win with being contested. It's harder, but you can. But if you're wasting so much time just to make sure you win the contest, you can't.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think griefing others that are contesting you makes sense as long as you're making it yourself. Like as long as you're qualified yourself.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing is, like, there will be people even like tonight that are gonna like say that you're griefing TSM and like it's their spot, like blah blah blah. But like, I think people need to understand, like, especially for Easter, it's like a 3 month thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's like in your interest to want to fight for a spot that's gonna like that you can actually have for those like 3 months or whatever. So I hope people like understand that concept.
I was in house chat yesterday asking him if he want to put money on him winning tonight.
Ooh,
he
any
didn't.
betters?
So I asked him, "Are you scared?" And he was avoiding the question. And he TLDR, he did not want to put money on it. So I don't know. He doesn't seem that confident tonight.
Okay, I mean, listen, I didn't know who I thought was gonna win, but it sounded like I'm gonna have to put my money on you guys now after that little piece of information.
Yeah.
I'm not looking so confident. No, I'm just joking. But like, I love contests. Honestly, like I think, like I don't know. Outside of like some other things, contests are probably like the juiciest piece of like Apex content and drama. Like it just is, right? Like it's every single time. There's so much to talk about. Like there's so much like tension and like heat.
Yeah. It shows the true colors of a team too. Like you can how well they are at contesting is also like how well their synergy is, right? If there's a lot of hectic comms and stuff like that, you like it shows your true colors basically, right? If the comms are clear and stuff like that, it shows that you're a good synergized team and stuff like that. So, and on top of that, you know, the tweets and the BM and all that kind of stuff. It's too funny. I love
Yeah,
contests too.
I feel like that should
Not when it's
happen
me
more.
though.
Yeah, true. Then there's pressure on you, huh? I feel like that should happen
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Like there should be like more friendly trash talking, like
Yeah,
like just
I
like
just wanna
upping
get
the
the popcorn
stakes.
ready.
Yeah, exactly. Like upping the stakes. Like the fans love it. You're gonna like if you're contesting anyways. Like the contest is gonna happen. Like if you lose, you're gonna lose anyways for the most part. Obviously, like there's like if you do up the stakes, like you can fall victim to like the pressure that you put on yourself. But like I feel like it's really good for Apex. I think Apex is doing especially well right now. And it's like getting bigger and bigger, like especially comp. But like we need more like rivalries. I think that's like not something that's just a thing in Apex at all. It seems like there's no real rivalries. Like in League of Legends, like in the beginning there was like CLG versus like TSM. That was like just infinite content.
Yeah.
Like I could literally live off that content for so
Yeah.
long. And it doesn't seem like there's literally any of that in Apex, which is kind of unfortunate. And like these people I don't think they necessarily hated each other, but like, you know, like it was good for the fans. It put pressure on the players to perform, which means like they pushed themselves more. And I don't know, I feel like it's just like an all around good thing. Like why not start some rivalries? And you don't have to hate each other. Like that's not the point, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It brings, like, at the end of the day, esport is content, right? Like that's the intention with it, to get viewers. Viewers want to see something that's entertaining, and yeah. I mean, so rivalries are they're for sure good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
mean, I feel
Cooler
like
LCDF.
yeah, cooler cooler LCDF. Yeah, that's one for sure. Actually, I mean, I feel like you're carrying that department now that I think about it in terms of uh like
In
rivalries
terms
a
of
little
scores,
bit.
yeah, it's like 20-0 to us or something
Oh,
like that.
scores. Yeah, that's what I meant to. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I feel like I don't even know if you're intentionally trying to take this role, but you were kind of turning into like the double lift of Apex a little bit. I don't know. I mean, and you
I
kind of
don't
were
know.
from the start, no?
I didn't really pay attention to
No.
Doublelift or something like. No.
Well, he would just like at tournaments and when he was like getting interviewed or like even on stream, he just basically just like call everyone trash. And I mean, he like owned up to it. Like even if he would lose, like he'd be like he would still do it like the next time. I don't like he didn't hate anyone, but like he knew that people
I don't know.
loved it.
That
And
sounds kind of weird.
I mean, he was like the best AD carry in North America. So
I don't know. That just seems like insecure to me.
it was
Like
pretty funny.
going out of, like, I don't know. That seems weird. If you're the best and people know you're the best, why do you have to tell them that you're the best? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think he was just
it
riling up
seems like
people
some
for the
maybe, yeah.
content. I don't know.
maybe.
Well, I just know that like you're for sure like a very competitive player, but like yeah, I would love to have more people who yeah, it was in a funny way. Like it wasn't like he was like these people suck, like they're so bad, you know, they're not doing their job, like they deserve to get fired, like they suck. He was just like you're trash, like they're trash. That's like, you know, like he would say it was a meme, like he would start
Yeah,
memes.
I don't know. I'm getting some Syncades vibes or something like that. You know, after what happened last week.
Yeah.
That's just weird, dude. I don't know. I don't.
Is it an NA thing then?
That's just weird, man.
Is
I
it
mean,
an NA thing?
if you're, yeah, it might be. I don't know. You can like banter around and stuff like that, but as soon as you say stuff like you're trash, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he did it in an entertaining way or something. I don't. That I just like. I need to see it to understand it, but I don't know. That sounds a bit weird.
So if there is trash talk, do you think it should be like kept between people who are like know each other friendly, or like just on stream? Like
No. You can have beef. No. So beef is fun and stuff like that. But if you call people trash just to call them trash, or like, you know when you kill someone oh, I killed this shitter, or like this kid or something like that, shit on him or something like that. I don't know, dude. That's just, I don't know how to like describe what I'm thinking, but I don't know, it's just a little weird.
Just don't overdo it, is what you're saying. I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
yeah,
Let's talk about like another aspect of like sportsmanship then, like or like also something related to controversy. So you guys were running a little bit of Revenant Octane in the quals, and like I know you got a lot of heat for that. And like, I mean, I don't know. I want to talk about that because obviously there's no rules saying that you can't like play this and that, but I'm just gonna play like devil's advocate just for the sake of like the discussion. Um, like what's like someone could argue like what's the point of playing Revenant Octane if you're not gonna play it in the future, right? Like how would you respond to something like that if someone said that?
um, to be honest, that I see some viability in that comp, but for more so for early rounds, because in finals where there's a lot of teams, it's really hard to ape without your totem breaking or someone 3Ping your totem or something like that. So I see that comp being viable and not that much of a troll pick as people said it out to be. But in general, to answer your question, I, oh man, there was just there's no real thought to it other than hey, let's have fun. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Like you guys were not obviously intentionally griefing, and I think that's something people like some viewers and people need to like understand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But well, like so is it a problem with like the qual format? Like, what is it that um like enables things like that to happen? I guess. Like, do you think there should be something different with a qual format? Like, should there be more
Yeah.
incentive to place well when you've already qualified, like higher up?
Oh yeah, I thought about this. I thought about a system for this like a year ago or something. I don't really remember it, but it was something like the points you gain in your lobby transfers to the next lobby, but in a way where, you know, like obviously you can just get a bot lobby round one and then get 5,000 points and then you would just automatically qualify, right? But
Right.
in an actual like a valid way kind of thing. I don't forget. I forgot it because like I don't know. That kind of stuff just seems like a waste of time to think about because I know that this is not gonna happen. Uh, but yeah, there needs to be if this is the way that we're gonna do it with 4 games qualifiers, 4 games per round. There needs to be some incentive to do better. Yes, but in reality, the best way to like the most competitive way for a competitive BR to like flourish would be a league format, right? Where it's something like top 5 from round 2 goes to round 1, bottom 5 from group 1 goes to group 2 and so on, right? So you can like climb the ranks, all the ranks, and, you know,
Yeah, for
something like
sure.
that. That'd be way more competitive. I don't like I don't see it happening because it takes way more time, and I don't know if it's less entertaining as well. It might be.
I'm not sure. I know that players loved it, like the last GLL Masters Summer League. At least it seemed like the majority of players liked it. I don't like.
There was a problem with that league though. That was I don't know how well I like the league. Don't get me wrong, but the qualifiers for the league was was
Well,
it
they were
3 or
like
4
three
games
games.
for the
Yeah,
rounds,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
was. I remember there's like 2 teams that didn't make it, right? Some two really good teams where it's like they should have made it for sure.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Maybe just make it so there's 3. There's 2 groups in the GL. Maybe just make it so there's 3 groups. And yeah, something like that. Maybe I don't know.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I always advocate for like more rounds and quals, just like just up the requirement and like have more rounds in each or more games in each round. Like you're gonna have the same amount of games probably, just like there's no reason for especially like round ones to even happen. To be honest, like it's just like low ranked players getting stomped for the most part, and like
Yeah, you
like
could make it so that you're seeded based off your ALGS points or something like that. So if you have a certain amount of ALGS points, you can skip to round 2. If you have a certain amount, you can skip to round 3, and then maybe even to quarters and so on. And that
yeah.
could be an idea.
Well, like I've also thought about like okay, so Respawn is really adamant on it being like an open tournament, but like that also hurts new teams or like new players or like lower skilled players because the good teams that don't get top 10 in finals have to be like the lower skilled teams have to play those teams, and one like there's just a huge skill disparity, so they're like
No, yeah, with the current system, right? Because then you
yeah
have a great team that makes it in round 1 and just absolutely stomps on people, right? Whereas, like, let's say you can rank, like, let's take a round 1 group, right? And you can rank every one of those teams from 1 to 20 in terms of how good they are. Then the top number 1 team is just like this, the Alliance or something like that, right? Like a really good team. They might just kill the number 2, 3, and 4, right? So they don't qualify, even though that they are the ranked 2, 3, and 4. They're really good. They could easily make it to the, like, maybe round 3 or something like that, but they just don't because, well, you got Alliance in your group. GG's.
yeah pretty much like
Like
I've definitely
that's bad.
yeah I mean I've definitely honestly I've played like qual rounds where like for whatever reason, like we have the same rotates, or we land near each other. I'll die to like the only good team in the lobby, like all 4 games or something like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
that feels super weird. Like obviously, you need to be like the best you can be, but also like it's top 10. It's not like you should only be competing against like the best team in the lobby. But I don't know. I think there should be a better way to like develop the tier 2 scene. I don't think we should mix the tier 1 and tier 2 as much as there is right now, or like tier 1 and then tier 2 and tier 3. Like I feel like there should be like the tier 2 and tier 3 should develop by itself a lot more in my opinion. I feel like mixing it is
Yeah.
like pretty dangerous.
Yes and no, because I mean, a tier, like, it's a BR. There's so much luck involved, right? So if a tier 2 team is just a little bit lucky, they could rank way higher than a tier 1 team, right? So it's, I understand what you're saying, and that would work for like any other game than a BR. I think, at least, just like, there's so much luck involved, and if you, yeah, you can split them to like guarantee that they will develop and get better and improve and stuff like that. But at the same time, that might also be gatekeeping them from a day where they're just lucky to get zones, to get good loot and stuff like that, right? And then that day they could win like an OT, right? So if you like gatekeep them to or like, I don't know. It's hard to do in a BR is what I'm trying to say. In CS:GO and stuff like that, that could be really good, I think.
Are you saying that like it's harder to like differentiate between like tier 1 and tier 2 because there is
Yes.
like so much variance in
Yeah,
BRs?
yeah, I think so.
Is that what
I
you're
think so.
saying?
Yeah. Just
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, I
think
mean
that's it.
it's not as like clear. Obviously, it's not like it's like tier 1 and then just like it jumps to tier 2. Like it's like a gradient for sure. But
Yeah.
um, yeah. And then I guess you were like mentioning alliance. I also want to talk about that because like that's a conversation that we had. Like the alliance and LG thing. Like there's like contesting, right, and then there's also like target griefing or killing or whatever. Like if a team is like very close to not qualing, how do you like feel about that? I will say
I
though,
think
like
I
in
think
NA, it happens quite a lot, to be
I
honest.
think target griefing is very, very, very stupid. Because long term it's just bad. Like, there's no benefit for yourself long term. And I think it's very, very dumb and small brain to actually target grief. Because what happens is that LG then target grief's alliance. Let's say they're successful. The alliance doesn't make it. LG makes it to finals. And now LG has one less good team in the finals, and maybe they even win because of that, right? Really, that's best case scenario. But then the following OT, well, Alliance wants revenge. And then the OT after that, well, Alliance wants revenge. The following OT after that, well, oh, LG is in trouble. Alliance is able to grief them. LG is in trouble because Alliance wants revenge. And then the following OT after that, well, Alliance wants revenge. Oh, and after that, okay, Alliance wants to like. There's just there's no value long term, right? It's just stupid.
Yeah, for sure. Well, like I think some like a lot of viewers, well, like I don't think they understand this concept that like in a BR you can have friends and you can have enemies without you like colluding with them, right? Like at the end of the day, you're playing against multiple teams like simultaneously, and like maintaining a good relationship with those teams is not colluding. It's like ensuring simply, you just don't die or like get griefed.
Yeah. Put simply, it's like me, you know, with the drone going up and down to indicate that I'm friendly, right? So we don't EMP each other, right? That's like, I mean, it might be a gray line, right? But I don't know. It's just better than it's better to like team up so that I don't know how to say it, but in terms of griefing, it's better to like have friends than enemies, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, what about in NA though? Like, because in NA, if you're like a top tier team, it's super like it should be super easy to qual, right? So is making enemies like in NA not as big of a problem, or do you think it's like still a problem?
I'm pretty sure NA has it. Like the NA culture is that you just grief any teams that you can, and people just don't think more about it. Like people don't take offense to it, right? So they're not like looking for revenge. But because everyone just griefs each other, then hey, okay, let's say okay, there's a team in trouble, we can just grief them, right? It's not that they want revenge or there's anything else to it other than hey, let's just grief this team because we can, right? And then everyone does that, and so there's no like the culture is just to grief, right? But there's no bad feelings or there's no ill intentions in terms of let's get revenge afterwards, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's why there's so much griefing in there. And that's like a healthy state, I think. Where like because there's strategy into the griefing, right? Because like I said, with the LG griefing alliance, well then that's one less good team in the finals, right? So there's strategy into that and like this short-term gain, and if everyone is just on board with that, everyone is like following that same thought process, then it's smart to start griefing because you don't get any enemies because of it, but you are already all enemies, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess I should clarify, like what I'm talking about right now is like off drop or like right after drop, or like you're intentionally targeting them. Like let's say a team is fighting another team and they have downs and they're like in 10th place, and you want to 3P. I don't like what is there a difference between that and like gatekeeping them from their drop spot like after dropping? Like,
oh yeah, that's like kill feed sniping. Just do that. Like that's genius. If you don't do that, you're throwing.
You're just punching a mistake, or what?
Of course, yeah. I think if you do that kind of stuff, right, kill feed sniping, where it's not targeted grief, but hey, look, this team is fighting. We're already qualified. We don't need to win this fight, but we could kill them and they don't qual, right? Because you can do that kind of stuff without communicating that hey, let's grief this team, right? That way you don't really get an enemy out of it, and at the same time you get a good team out. So it's like kill feed sniping, or like like another term for griefing is smart, but targeted griefing like LG did, like gatekeeping alliance out, that forms enemies, right? But kill feed sniping and stuff like that that's smart because you don't really get an enemy out of it, right?
Right, for sure. But like, someone could definitely argue that like 3Ping that fight or like kill feed sniping or whatever detracts away from like your win condition in that specific game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people could definitely
Yeah.
argue that that's not healthy for the game, right? Like I kind of
Yeah,
understand
but
it, like, but
yeah, sure, because it doesn't. So like in a perfect competitive environment, everyone is doing their best like to win, right? But the
right,
way with this format is that hey, you win one game and you're already through, right? Like, that's just how it works.
yeah,
Um, so this format, it's not like it goes back to my earlier statement about the current format is just not competitive. You want a really good competitive environment, you're gonna make a league for BR for the BR genre at least.
yeah. Honestly, like I keep thinking about that. Like I feel like a league would just like literally solve every single issue. Like it would solve. There's also like a lot of people talking about like zones being disproportionately picked in one area of the map. Like a league system would literally just solve that. Or like flight paths for the most part. Like a league system would balance that more so than like a small sample size of games.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a league
Um,
format
I
would do so much.
I don't. Yes, you can say like with random zones and stuff like that. Because the problem with random zones is that there's so few games. So if you just get lucky twice or something like that, you're most likely gonna win the tourney, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then you could say that hey, if you have a lot of games, then well, statistically, you're not gonna just get lucky and win, right? But that's just begs the question: hey, is it even necessary? Like, why would you even have a luck aspect into it, right? If you just make it less RNG, make zones predictable, make flight path sensor, make loot like somewhat guaranteed. You know, it's still a BR, so you can still like get loot RNG and stuff like that. But like at least make it guaranteed that you can leave a spot with 4 cells, right? Like that kind of stuff. Like so, if you lessen the RNG in terms of all that kind of stuff, right? Then you're gonna start having a tourney with like one game because there's no RNG, right? It's just skill. Of course, that's not like good, right? But that's just to prove the point that it's not unnecessary with the RNG. Yes, with the league format, with a lot of games, it lessens the RNG. It's statistically speaking, you're not gonna get like blessed and win because of your luck. But why would that even be a thing, right? You just lessen the RNG. You don't need a league format. You can do a league format, but yeah, I don't know. It's so stupid. There's so much luck that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've going back to like the Rev Octane thing. Like, are you scared of going through qual rounds again? Like, do you guys feel like you've made like too many enemies? Like, are you gonna
Uh,
be approaching these qual rounds differently now that like that whole thing happened? Like,
Not
obviously, don't
really,
leak
no.
strats, but like, I'm just wondering.
I don't know. I'm feeling confident right now. Like so on GSD, we never missed a qual, and I used to love doing qualifiers just because like it was just fun. It's just like pub stumping, right? Like kill farming and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
And it was just fun in general, even the later rounds. And I'm at that point with cooler now that I'm pretty confident in the qualifiers. I'm not like scared of it anymore. Like I was in autumn circuit because holy shit, that gives me PTSD.
Yeah, for sure. I
So
mean,
yeah,
that's like
in
super
terms of
stressful.
enemies, I don't nah, not really. I of course I'm gonna be like if we have dead inside in our lobby and we're doing bad, of course I'm gonna be worried or like I'm gonna try to play around it, right?
Yeah.
But not it's not that like we're gonna play a different comp and play style drop differently and like do all this kind of stuff.
Well, I did. There was one time, and if this is like a leak strat, like maybe I won't talk about it, but like I guess I've seen other teams like change their drop spot, for example, and like talk to other teams to change drop spots if they think they're like getting griefed. I think I saw
Yeah, we did
even,
that in OT2's autumn circuit.
yeah, like some people will argue that's also colluding, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean
talk
people that
about
say
that.
that are just delusional.
Yeah, but
Like you
why is
like
that? Like, why is that not colluding? I'm obviously playing
colluding
devil's
is that
advocate,
you
but
both team up to gain something, gain an unfair advantage, right? That's colluding. You team up and you gain an unfair advantage on other players, right? That's
right.
colluding, right? So if if you're changing changing spots, drop spots, that doesn't give an unfair advantage. Anyone else can also offer to trade their drop spot, right? Like everyone can do that. It's not like you're colluding, teaming up, and taking 3v6 fights, or you are your team is gatekeeping west and the other team is gatekeeping east so that you're safer or stuff like that. Like that's colluding, right? But trading drop spots, talking before the games, between the games about, hey, we're gonna split this side or that kind of stuff. It doesn't give an advantage. I don't know. I think that's stupid to say.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Well, like, yeah. Well, I think, yeah, there's definitely this is also going along with like the whole like making friends and enemies things, but yeah, I think there's a misconception just in general with BRs about like having good relationships with the teams around you. Like, it's important,
Yeah.
regardless. Like, I mean, even I was playing like a NA GLL Cup, and the team we were landing thermal, and the team was landing tree, and they were like gatekeeping us from rotating every single game, no matter the zone, like 5 out of 6 games or whatever, and like for no reason. Like it's a GLL Cup, right? Like, why are they doing this? I guess, like, why are they making enemies for the sake of like 3 KP or whatever, right? And I feel like that's just not in their best. It might seem like it's in their best interest at the time if they want to win the NAGLL Cup number 57 or 100 or whatever it is. But like in the long run, it does make enemies, and like it definitely, like, we never ended up being in a lobby after them, but it really, I feel like, would have impacted how I played the game if they were in my lobby. Absolutely. And I hate to like say that, but like, like making enemies is just not, it doesn't like it can definitely like affect you in the wrong way, especially if there's no actual like long-term value out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, that's actually pretty much all I have. I feel like we actually went over some like pretty like controversial things in the context of a BR that like people haven't talked about, and like contesting and like griefing in tournaments and target griefing. So that was really good. But I don't know. Is there anything else you have to say or want to say or like bring up that I didn't bring up?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not that I can think of, at least.
Cool. Well, chat and people watching, then we are going to head off. And before I do, I just want to thank again 303 for sponsoring this podcast and my content. They're making this whole thing a reality, and like they're letting me make this like high quality podcast and being like helping me being able to bring this content to you guys. So like shout out to them. They're great. We will definitely be doing more of those. If you have people that you want to see on here, let me know. Or if you're like, a pro player or in competitive Apex in some degree, and like you might be interested in getting on, then let me know. We can definitely set something up. But otherwise, it was fun, and I will see you guys later. Thank you for stopping by.